Welcome to Speak English with Energy.
Hey everyone, welcome to Speak English with Energy.
Hi, I'm Lisa, and I'm here with Victor today.
We're talking about how to sound professional in English.
A great topic, especially for our listeners who work or study in English.
I remember a time when I had to give a presentation at work. I was really nervous, and my English wasn't as good as it is now. But I practiced a lot, and it really paid off in the end.
That's so true. Practice makes perfect, especially when it comes to speaking professionally. I've had similar experiences, and it's amazing how confident you can sound with the right phrases and vocabulary.
Exactly, and that's what we're going to explore today. So let's get started.
Let's dive in and look at some common situations where you might need to sound professional in English.
I remember a situation at work where I had to speak professionally. It was a meeting with a big client, and I was very nervous. But I took a deep breath and used some phrases we'll discuss today.
That sounds like a great experience. What phrases did you use exactly?
Well, I started with a confident greeting and introduction. And then I used some key expressions to show I was prepared.
I'm sure our listeners would love to hear those expressions.
Definitely, and that's what makes speaking professionally so important.
It's not just about the words, but how you say them, right?
Exactly. Tone and body language play a huge role in how professional you sound. So, we'll explore all these aspects and give you practical tips.
I think that's really helpful, especially for those in a professional setting.
Yes, and it's not just limited to work, it can be applied to any formal situation.
All right, let's break it down and make it easy to understand for our listeners.
I once knew someone who thought being professional meant using complicated words.
But that's not true, right?
No, it's actually the opposite. Using simple, clear language is often more effective.
That makes sense, because it's easier to understand.
For example, in a meeting, I used to use big words to sound smart. But then I realized people were losing interest. So, I started using simpler language and saw a big difference.
What kind of difference did you see?
People were more engaged and responded positively.
That's really interesting. It shows how language can impact our interactions.
Yes, and it's not just about the words, but also how we deliver them.
So, what if someone is not sure how to simplify their language?
We can give them some tips and tricks to improve their communication skills. Let's give an example of simplifying language. I was in a meeting where someone used very complex terms, and I had to ask them to explain it in simpler words.
That can be really frustrating, especially in a professional setting. So, what did you learn from that experience?
I learned that using simple language helps everyone understand. And it's not about being less professional, but more considerate.
That's a great point. Being clear is key to good communication. One common mistake people make is using jargon or technical terms without explaining what they mean, assuming everyone knows.
Exactly, and that can alienate people who don't understand. So, this week, try to simplify your language in one conversation. See how it affects the interaction and the response you get.
And don't be afraid to ask someone to explain something in simpler terms.
I recall a meeting where I used jargon, and my colleagues looked confused instantly.
What did you do to recover from that?
I apologized and explained it in simpler terms.
That's a great strategy. Victor, thanks for sharing. I've had similar experiences with technical vocabulary, where I had to stop and redefine key terms.
It's all about being aware of our audience and adapting our language to their needs.
Absolutely, that's key to effective communication.
So, to recap, we've covered being clear, using simple language, and asking for clarification.
Right, and I think the key takeaway is to be mindful of your audience.
Exactly, and simplifying your language can make a huge difference. I've seen it in my own conversations, where using simple terms helps everyone understand.
That's a great point, and it's also important to ask questions when you're unsure. Like we discussed, asking someone to explain something in simpler terms can really help.
So, our actionable tip for this week is to try simplifying your language in one conversation. See how it affects the interaction and the response you get from others.
And don't be afraid to ask for clarification if you're unsure about something.
By doing so, you'll become a more effective and professional communicator.
See you next time on Speak English with Energy.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep speaking English with energy. See you in the next episode.